And he starts walking around the interview room, and then he starts going. And then he walks around, and then he does it again.
One of the dudes tied to Julio's murder just folded, and it's bad. Davian Murphy didn't even realize he was being recorded when he got left alone in that interrogation room and started acting out the whole hit, like full-on reenactment mode. This man handed the prosecutors their golden ticket on a silver platter. Not only did he play out what happened, he named names too. Yeah, he basically sealed his own fate with that one.
He puts out his arms like this, and it appears that he's brandishing a rifle with one hand extended and one, what I would consider the trigger finger. And he starts walking around the interview room, and then he starts going. And then he walks around, and then he does.
Let's break this all the way down because it's wild. These guys really thought they were slick. Charles Andrew Jones II, known all over the streets and on tracks as rapper Julio Foolio, was gunned down in a cold, targeted hit on June 23rd, 2024. It was supposed to be his 26th birthday bash, but it turned tragic outside a Holiday Inn in Tampa, Florida. And let's be clear, this wasn't some random drive-by or heat-of-the-moment mess. Nah, this was premeditated, straight-up lurking, stalking, and waiting to strike, cold-blooded and calculated. They were moving like they had it all figured out. But here's where it gets straight-up embarrassing. These so-called killers thought they were untouchable, like they were running some master plan. In reality, they played themselves.
Hey, the pool party start today at 5, 6 o'clock. If you already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now. The pool party start at 5, 6 o'clock.
Hard. That cocky attitude, that's what's about to get them life, or even worse. We're talking irrefutable evidence. This ain't just he say, she say. It's so solid that even top-tier lawyers would be shaking their heads, trying to figure out how to clean up this mess. Now let's rewind to where it all went downhill. The interrogation room at Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Davian Murphy, one of 5 dudes charged in Julio's killing, was sitting under the hot lights, getting grilled by detectives. This 27-year-old, who's allegedly linked to the 1200 gang, had been on the run for over half a year until U.S. Marshals finally caught up to him on January 6th, 2025. Picture it. Murphy's sitting across from the feds, trying to act cool, giving just enough to not raise alarms, thinking he's in control. The detectives, coming at him hard with the questions, where he was, who he was with, and what part he played in the setup that left Julio dead in the street. But then it happened. The moment everything flipped. Murphy, left alone in the room, must have thought the cameras were off. That's when he started moving around and mimicking exactly how the murder went down. Step by step, like this was some movie audition or something. And just like that, all that street talk about never fold went out the window. Murphy's move might go down as one of the dumbest self-owns Jacksonville's ever seen. During a break in questioning, the detective stepped out, and that's when Davian Murphy made the dumbest move of his entire life. This dude thought he was in the clear. What he didn't know, cameras were still rolling, recording every single move like a movie set on silent.
We came deep for my birthday, man. Everybody coming in the stairs. No cap, man. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We deep as hell. We deep as hell, 20 deep.
Thinking he was all alone, Murphy started bugging out, and not just pacing or tapping his fingers. Nah, he was out here throwing up fake gunshots, acting like he was holding a rifle, like he was reliving the hit that got him locked up in the first place. Can you picture that? A grown man, fighting for his life, knowing he's facing either life behind bars or even the electric chair, decides to play pretend murder right there in the interrogation room. According to court testimony during his bond hearing on January 16, 2025, the detective who witnessed the footage was so shocked by what he saw, he had to stand up in court and reenact it himself. Right in front of the judge, lawyers, and everybody else, He showed exactly what Murphy did in that room. But this wasn't just nervous fidgeting or stress. The way he moved, the way he acted it all out, it looked like a celebration. Like he was proud of what went down. That's what had jaws dropping in court. Prosecutors later told the court that Murphy clearly thought nobody was watching, and that made his actions even more incriminating. That right there, that sealed the deal. It turned what could have been just suspicion into full-blown evidence. Now, to really get how reckless this was, you gotta know what Julio's murder meant to the streets. This wasn't a one-off. This wasn't no heat-of-the-moment mess. This was the result of a 10-year war between deadly rival crews. Foolio was deep in that 6-block KTA Kill Them All set, and they were beefing hard with rival cliques like ATK, Top Killers, and 1200 from the East. We're talking bodies on bodies, disrespect, flying on tracks, and Instagram, and real lives being taken. This wasn't just rap beef, it was full-on street war. On the night of June 23rd, 2024, Foolio was just trying to celebrate his 26th birthday. He hit up a pool party, slid through Tease's Gentlemen's Club, stopped at Truth 18 nightclub, and finally made it back to the Home 2 Suites hotel. What he didn't know? His enemies were tailing him the whole way, watching, waiting, tracking every stop he made. And the craziest part? They didn't have to do much work. Foolio was posting everything in real time. Location tags, stories, everything. His social media lit up like a GPS tracker, and that's how they found him. They followed the digital breadcrumbs and waited for the perfect time to strike.
I look down on my foot. I see him bleeding, but I'm like, I see the front. See, I ain't show y'all the back side of my ankle. The front and the back side of my ankle, like, they bleed.
Foolio didn't even realize it, but he was basically handing his enemies a GPS tracker straight to his location. Every post, every tag, every video, his ops were locked in on his every move.
What you think about Foolio dying, cuz? That's sad, twin. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Y'all boys in the street, y'all didn't leave the streets alone, twin. All condone it like that. It's so funny, cause me, bro, like, we cool. Like, we was cool and feel me, him, like, we cool. And I was just, so funny, I was just talking to him. I'm like, bro, you gotta stop the way, bro. You know, I love y'all here. Like, stop the way, bro. Like, you know, I with.
And when the hit finally went down, it was like something out of a military movie. 3 shooters showed up strapped with high-powered rifles and unleashed chaos. 31 shell casings scattered all over the scene. This wasn't no sloppy drive-by. This was a straight-up coordinated ambush. Whoever planned it had serious intel, a tight crew, and a game plan that left zero room for error. 5 people got hit with murder charges. 18-year-old Sean Gathright, 21-year-olds Isaiah Chance and Alicia Andrews, 30-year-old Rashad Murphy, and 27-year-old Davian Murphy. All of them allegedly tied to rival sets that had been at war with Julio's crew for years. And the evidence? Man, it was already stacking high. Surveillance footage had them tailing Foolio around Tampa the whole night. Phone records? Lit up with incriminating texts, like one from Rashad Murphy, referring to Don Foolio as a way to throw shade. On top of that, digital receipts showed Rashad booked an Airbnb in Tampa just a day before the shooting. That's premeditation right there. But the one who really messed everything up was Davian Murphy. His interrogation room performance? Pure clown show, acting out the crime like it was some scene from a movie? That moment alone pushed this whole case into another league. Murphy was literally facing the most serious charge you can get. And instead of laying low, he gave the courtroom a live preview of what the prosecutors were accusing him of. That surveillance footage, it became the focus of his bond hearing, which dragged on for 5 hours before the judge finally said, nope, bond denied. Prosecutors argued that Murphy was a straight-up threat to the public, and with that wild performance in the interrogation room, they weren't wrong. It didn't help his case at all. In fact, it made things way worse. Now, out of the 5 suspects, 3 of them, Isaiah Chance, Sean Gathright, and Rashad Murphy, are staring down the death penalty if they're convicted. Alicia Andrews, who's currently pregnant, isn't facing execution, But she's still deep in the case. And Davian Murphy, with all that evidence and his alleged role as one of the shooters, he's probably getting lined up for the death penalty too. These court cases are still unfolding. Alicia's trial was supposed to go down in January 2025, but it got delayed when her lawyer dipped. Now it's tentatively set for August 2025, or even later. The rest of the crew, including Murphy, are looking at a trial date around April 2026. But here's the truth. Julio's death wasn't just another rapper gone too soon. It was the boiling point of a 10-year war that's left bodies on sidewalks and families broken all over Jacksonville. This is what happens when revenge runs generations deep, when entire neighborhoods turn into battlegrounds. Charles Andrew Jones II, known on the streets as Julio Foolio, was born on June 21, 1998, and raised in Jacksonville's Moncrief neighborhood. His life was full of loss and struggle, and that pain carved its way into his music and pushed him straight into a gang war that would end up taking him out. Julio's path to the streets was carved early, and it hit hard. Back in 2011, when he was just 13, his dad got gunned down in a shooting. That tragedy left a deep scar and pulled young Julio deeper into the life surrounding him. After that, the streets became his second home. He linked up with the 6-block set of the KTA Kill Them All, a crew known for running the REED area and being knee-deep in all types of illegal hustle. These weren't just some neighborhood kids messing around. This crew had a serious name in the city. Julio's music, it wasn't just bars, it was real-life pain turned into lyrics. His tracks painted pictures of violence, survival, and loyalty in a city where any wrong move could be your last. On the other side of this bloody rivalry was another young man shaped by the same pain. Keonta Tyrone Bullard, known to the game as Youngeen Ace. Ace was born on February 12, 1998 in East Chicago, Indiana, but his family moved to Jacksonville early on. He grew up with his mom and 11 brothers, grinding through hard times. Just like Julio, Ace lost his pops in 2011. 2 boys, same year, same heartbreak, different sides of the city. Ace got tied up with ATK, Ace's top killers, a crew that repped him heavy.
I'm the one that smacked Julio Foolio that night when he got dropped at his birthday celebration. I rock with Ace and them boys, you feel me? ATK, you feel me? I be in Jacksonville heavy. Ace had that money on his head, you know, Ace had them put that 10K up. Told me to slide, told me to smack fool, because you know he got tired of that running his mouth playing.
And stood as direct opposition to Julio's 6-block gang. What started as personal pain turned into public warfare, with both camps locked in a cycle of revenge. This rivalry, it wasn't just a rap beef. It was real-life warfare that sucked in dozens of young men, turning the streets into battlegrounds. Loyalty got tested, friendships got shattered, and revenge kept the cycle spinning non-stop. Things really started heating up in 2017 when Julio's cousin, 18-year-old Zion Malik Brown, got killed. That moment lit the fuse. Many say that was the spark that kicked off the full-blown gang war between KTA and ATK. And the violence, it didn't let up. It exploded. On June 5th, 2018, the war reached a devastating level. A shooting at St. John's Town Center left Youngeen Ace wounded. But that wasn't even the worst part. The gunfire also took the lives of his brother Trayvon Bullard and 2 of his close friends, Royale Quan Smith Jr. and Jacoby Bibby Groover. Word in the streets was that this hit was carried out by members of 6-block, marking one of the deadliest escalations in the beef. From that point on, it wasn't just about music or rep, it was about blood. What happened next showed just how cold and public this feud had really become. Julio wasn't holding back. He hit social media with wild disrespect, even wearing a shirt that said, "Rest in 23, a direct shot at Royale Quan Smith Jr., who had just been killed. That one move lit the fire even hotter. From there, it was all-out chaos. Retaliations kept piling up, lives kept getting taken, and whole neighborhoods were caught in the crossfire. The violence wasn't slowing down, it was leveling up. In January 2019, Willie Addison, better known as Boss Goon, was gunned down outside Paradise Gentlemen's Club. That hit was tied straight to the ongoing street war, and the body count didn't stop there. Also in 2019, Lil Buck, Charles Quentin McCormick Jr., and Bibby, Adrian Denard Gaynor Jr., both with ties to KTA, were killed in separate shootings. Word on the streets was that these were payback hits, likely coming from ATK. Foolio wasn't untouchable either. He had multiple attempts on his life. In July 2020, he survived a shooting in Houston. Then again, in October 2023, back in Jacksonville, he got hit again, but survived once more. And he wasn't quiet about it either. He hopped on Instagram Live and said it himself. Every close call just turned up the heat. Each time they missed, it only pushed his enemies to try harder to take him out for good. Social media and music became weapons too. Both sides used tracks and posts to throw jabs, build hype, and throw fuel on the fire. Foolio dropped diss records like When I See You, and it exploded. Nearly 1 million views in just 12 hours. But ATK, led by Youngin Ace, clapped back hard. They released Who I Smoke, a track that went viral instantly. 14 million views in just 3 weeks. The song didn't hold back, calling out names of 6 Block members who had already been killed. It turned real-life pain into a viral track that shocked the internet. But it wasn't just music. Law enforcement stepped in too. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office even used some of these music videos as part of their investigations. And in January 2019, they made arrests using lyrics and visuals as evidence. Things got even more twisted when a third crew, 1200 Out East, joined the mix. They aligned with ATK against 6 Block, throwing more bodies, more shooters, and more chaos into the equation. That alliance turned out to be key in Foolio's murder, because both Rashad and Davian Murphy, 2 suspects in the hit, were linked to 1200. This street war has become one of the deadliest Jacksonville's ever seen. Dozens of people killed from both sides. And it wasn't just gang members getting hit. Families got torn apart. Innocent people caught strays. Communities lived in fear, wondering who'd be next. One of the most heartbreaking losses came on January 20th, 2025. 7-year-old Brian Allen was shot and killed in a hit that was aimed at his cousin, a rapper associated with ATK. 6 suspects, aged just 17 to 24 and tied to 6 Block, got arrested for that horrific shooting. That moment reminded everyone, this war was way beyond rap. This was real, and no one was safe. Now we're diving into the wildest twist in this whole saga, the part that's got the streets buzzing and blogs going crazy. We're talking about Youngin Ace, one of Jacksonville's biggest rap stars, and the firestorm around his rumored connection to Julio Foolio's murder. Ace, real name Keonta Bullard, is at the center of a tangled mess of rumors, denials, and eyebrow-raising behavior. Even though he hasn't been charged with anything related to Julio's death, his name keeps popping up, and folks out here won't stop talking. Let's be clear, as of now, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says there's no active investigation into Ace for the murder, but they are watching him closely because of his known gang ties and the tension that's still thick in the streets. But here's the thing. Ace's connection to the case runs deep. His role in ATK, his long-running beef with Foolio, and how his name kept showing up in court, it's all there. At Davian Murphy's bond hearing on January 17, 2025, which lasted 5 hours, law enforcement broke down the gang rivalry between ATK and 6 Block, and they didn't shy away from talking about Ace. He was a key figure in the picture they painted. But the state attorney's office made it clear, they're focused on evidence and Ace ain't facing charges yet. Now buckle up, because here's where it gets real messy. On July 21st, 2024, during an Instagram Live, Youngin Ace dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. He said he and Foolio were actually cool before the murder. Yeah, you heard that right. This caught everybody off guard, fans, artists, even some folks in law enforcement. For years, these two had been seen as bitter enemies, trading diss tracks and sneak shots online, but Ace claimed they had patched things up in private before Foolio got taken out. But if that's true, why did Ace move the way he did after Foolio got killed? because here's what really had people questioning everything. On June 24th, 2024, literally hours after Foolio was murdered, Ace dropped a new track called Do It. The timing alone had people side-eyeing it. But the lyrics? That's where it got really controversial. One line in particular had folks talking. They called my phone, said they got the low, I told them do it. Fans immediately thought that was a direct reference to Julio's murder. It didn't help that the music video showed visuals that looked just like the hotel parking lot where the hit went down. So now people were asking, was Ace taking a shot at the dead? Was he mocking Julio's murder? Or was he just trying to ride the wave and grab attention while the story was hot? Whatever the truth is, the release of that song right after Julio's death sparked outrage and speculation. Whether Ace was really celebrating, trolling, or just adding fuel to the flames, it turned what was already a tragedy into a scandal. Just when things couldn't get any messier, social media threw more gas on the fire. A video popped up showing a masked man claiming to be the shooter who took out Julio, and get this, he said Youngjin Ace paid him to do it. But let's not get it twisted. This claim is completely unverified. The guy's identity is still unknown, and law enforcement hasn't confirmed anything about it. Even major hip-hop news outlets reported that it's all speculation with no connection to any official charges or open investigations. Real ones know. Anybody can throw on a mask and talk reckless for views. Doesn't mean it's facts. Meanwhile, Ace's own legal issues have added more fuel to the rumor mill. On April 15th, 2024, he got picked up in Jacksonville Beach on a gun possession charge. But by July 3rd, the case got tossed out due to lack of solid evidence. Court documents showed that neither DNA nor phone data could tie Ace directly to the firearm. Prosecutors didn't see a win, so they passed on the case. That dropped charge shows just how tricky it is for law enforcement to build real cases against high-profile figures tied to gang activity. Sheriff T.K. Waters even spoke on it. He admitted Ace has a long-known history with local gangs, but made it clear that without real evidence, there's no case. Street rep alone don't hold up in court. Now, let's talk facts. The 5 suspects actually arrested for Julio's murder? They were all connected to ATK and 1200 Out East, 2 gangs closely tied to Ace. That right there is why his name keeps getting dragged into the convo. And the evidence against those 5? It's heavy. We're talking digital receipts, text messages from Rashad Murphy mocking Julio by calling him Don Julio, and confirmation that he booked an Airbnb in Tampa the day before the hit. That ain't random. That's set-up behavior. Even worse, ballistics linked the weapons used in Julio's murder to 4 other shootings and 1 homicide in Jacksonville back in 2022. So the heat these guys are facing ain't just about this one case. It's bigger than that. Prosecutors are building their case off hard evidence. Messages, videos, weapons, and surveillance. Not just street rumors or rap beefs. While Ace's history and gang ties give the story context, the feds are only charging the ones they can directly connect to the murder. But here's a twist that caught people's attention. One of the suspects, Isaiah Chance, publicly claimed he's innocent. In May 2025, Chance jumped on Instagram and said the police got the wrong guys. According to him, there's no clear footage, no recovered weapons, and no shell casings that link him to the hit. He says it's all circumstantial, and the streets are watching closely to see how that plays out. Isaiah Chance's claim of innocence added a whole new twist to the story, casting doubt over what prosecutors say is a solid case. But let's be real. Defendants claiming they ain't do it is nothing new when the heat is on. Still, the reaction to Youngjin Ace's potential connection to all this? Straight up explosive. The internet's been split. Some folks believe Ace played puppet master from behind the scenes. Others say he's just an easy target because of his name, his past with Foolio, and the people around him who got caught up. After the arrests, Ace posted to Instagram saying, "When you approach me, be ready to die or go to jail. That's my mentality." Some took that as a general message. But given the timing, people couldn't ignore the context. It dropped right when the murder case was heating up. Law enforcement has been playing it cautious. They know how tricky it is to walk the line between chasing real leads and targeting someone just because they're famous or affiliated. Sheriff T.K. Waters said it himself, they're watching Ace heavy, but they need hard proof, not just street talk. This whole case also shines a light on something bigger, the blurred lines between art and real-life crime. Foolio and Ace both made names in the drill rap world by telling stories from the trenches, but those lyrics, those visuals, those social media posts, cops are using them in courtrooms now. What used to be seen as expression is now being pulled apart frame by frame for evidence. It's real out here. As for the 5 suspects locked up for Foolio's murder, they're facing the worst possible outcomes, life behind bars or the death penalty. Meanwhile, Youngin Ace keeps dropping music, keeps making headlines, and keeps moving with law enforcement watching his every step. And in Jacksonville, the streets haven't cooled off. Young kids are still facing those same choices: survival, loyalty, revenge. It's the same cycle, just new names. And the next chapter, still being written. If you found this story wild, shocking, or even eye-opening, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment below, and let me know your thoughts. Do you think Ace was involved? Or is he being set up by association? Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next breakdown. And share this with someone who needs to hear the real behind the headlines. Catch you in the next one. It's only getting deeper from here.